One day after the Department of Homeland Security ordered a temporary halt to traffic stops as part of ICE deportation actions, President Trump reversed that policy decision. CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Sganga joins me now with the details. How did this go down?
Yeah, you blink and you miss something in this administration,
No
Major,
doubt.
and it has been a fast-moving 48 hours. Yesterday, ICE's Enforcement and Removal Operations Division had issued memos to all of the field offices saying that in most cases, they were going to put a temporary pause on vehicle stops while officers were to receive additional training. They didn't really specify what that training was going to look like, but it applied only to what's called ERO, enforcement and removal operations, so just civil immigration arrests, and there were carve-outs for exceptions like serious criminal offenders, cases involving partner agencies, so partnership with local law enforcement, going after individuals who had judicial warrants out on their arrest.
And to that point, Nicole, at the White House yesterday afternoon, the White House immigration czar,
Tom Homan, came
talked
out,
to reporters and verified this and defended it.
Yes, and said that this is just a temporary pause in light of everything that we have seen in Houston and in Maine. We woke up, as we do many days during this administration, to a Truth Social post by President Trump publicly pushing back, saying there's been no slowdown in enforcement of his immigration policies. And we heard more from DHS officials just behind the scenes sort of walking back this policy now, saying traffic stops were never off the table, right? But I think there's a lot of confusion now, speaking with law enforcement officers, and I honestly feel for some of them that are stuck in the middle of this whiplash. Will there be more training at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, FLETC? Will there be operational guidance now? When do you know to pull someone over or not? Speaking also with officials, there are some reasons why you would want to do this for officer safety, reducing not only the risk of another fatal use of force incident, but also just standardizing some of these vehicle stop tactics. And by the way, incorporating new operational guidance on body cameras, because we've also heard about that from this administration.
And as I understand it, there's some new news on that front.
We are learning, and I am told that this is still in effect. So despite the whiplash on the policy regarding vehicle stops, this is still happening, where DHS has said every arrest team nationwide that is carrying out immigration enforcement will have at least one officer who is wearing a body-worn camera. There's been a lot to do about body-worn cameras. So this is not every officer wearing body-worn cameras, but this is one per team. Yeah, and look, we don't know exactly how this requirement is going to be enforced, but we know that it has been a long time coming for DHS to equip its personnel with body-worn cameras.
Nicole, please stay here, and I invite you to jump into this conversation if you are so motivated. I'm joined now by Mark Morgan, who served as acting ICE director during the first Trump administration. I'm very glad to have you with us because I know you have experience in this space. Tell my audience, what is the core tactical utility of vehicle stops in removal operations?
Well, that varies. But what I will say, Major, is that it is a essential law enforcement tool and a great law enforcement toolbox. And I want to make sure everybody understands this, that every law enforcement tool action, there's always a level of inherent risk. That's just the nature of the job, the nature of the profession. But I can tell you, there are some times where conducting a vehicle stop is the least risky alternative to other law enforcement tools that are there. So for anyone at any level to actually remove, suspend, whatever adjective that you want to use, in its entirety a law enforcement tool. At the end of the day, that literally just hands victories to the cartel, to the criminal individuals, as well as it demoralizes. I think your other guest summarized it very well. It's confusing. It demoralizes the workforce as if the leaders do not have trust in them.
How about the training level on this? Is there enough, and has there been enough training of these vehicle stops? Because ICE has enlarged. There's lots of people coming in. What's the level of training, and is that something that needs more focus?
Yeah, so one of my last tours in the federal law enforcement arena was I served as the FBI's assistant director for the training division. We were responsible for training all new agents and providing ongoing training to every special agent in the FBI. So training is extremely important. So answer part of your question, there's never enough training. We should always be taking a look at doing more training. But unfortunately, across the board, all agencies, when budget cuts come, Major, what do you think the first thing most agencies cut is training? So to answer your question, do we need more training? Yes, absolutely. We need more ongoing training. However, your guest also mentioned FLETC. FLETC is an incredible training division that's there that trains multiple federal agencies here. And I can guarantee you that vehicle stops, because it is one of those essential law enforcement tools, there is exhaustive training that every single officer and agent goes through when they're going through their FLETC training. But again, that doesn't mean the train should stop after the academy. It should be ongoing.
Major, if I can follow up on that, I'm curious, Mark, what your sense is. There's reporting out of Maine that indicates that the officer there had formerly worked for the VA and then received some training by FLETC and transitioned into ICE. Do you believe, for former law enforcement officials who have spent their career at a non-immigration enforcement agency, there needs to be more than just an online course that FLETC gives out before they are on the ground working with ERO teams?
So look, I don't know if all they receive this online course, but I can tell you, if 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 the training is they're only receiving an online course with respect to vehicle stops, of course, that's woefully inadequate. There has to be what we call practical application, hands-on. But I can tell you, my understanding, my experience, my firsthand observation is, if you are within ICE and you've attended the FLETC training, when it comes to vehicle stops, you have received that practical, real world training well beyond just an online course. But if you're saying that's all that was offered to this individual, then that absolutely should raise red flags.
Mark, before I let you go, I want to put this on the table. 9 individuals have been killed in America as part of ERO operations in the second Trump term. At a threshold level, does that not suggest that something needs to be reevaluated?
Yeah, it does. But Major, what I'll tell you, I think what needs to be reevaluated is the rhetoric by the Democratic Party and many activists, which are out there day in and day out, encouraging and dictating and giving individuals the tools to actually go against ICE, to actually interfere with the law enforcement operations. Here, look, although we need to wait for every investigation to be completed, that's fair, and it should be an exhaustive, intense investigation into every single one of these shootings. But let me make sure everybody understands what is consistent. What we know for sure is every single one of these started with the individual that was encountered by law enforcement. They did not comply. So we need to be talking about that more and more. And then one thing that I'll say also is, let's look at some other agencies. In a 5-year period from 2018 to 2022, 4 other federal agencies were involved in 216 shootings. Over 150 of them were fatal. But yet, the only organization we're talking about is ICE right now.
Mark Morgan, I appreciate the time. Thank you very much.